Good afternoon. Welcome to this hearing of the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2 p.m. in Capitol Room 325. And we are about to hear 6 different resolutions and welcome all testifiers. Let me take care of some housekeeping business at the onset. For those on Zoom, please keep yourself muted and your video off while waiting to testify and after your testimony is completed. The Zoom chat function will enable you to chat with the technical staff only, but not myself or Chair Tarnas. If you are disconnected unexpectedly, you may attempt to rejoin the meeting. Let's see, please avoid using any trademark or copyrighted images because that will kick us off of video on YouTube. Please refrain from profanity or uncivil behavior. Please practice aloha. For purposes of this afternoon's hearing, we will combine House concurrent resolutions and House resolutions together because they are identically worded. And to begin, we will start with HCR 32, House Resolution 21, requesting the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to identify the scope of Native Hawaiian cultural appropriateness for the purpose of addressing Native Hawaiian disparities. And first up, we have the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Welcome. Please identify yourself.
Aloha Chair Tarnas, Vice Chair Takayama, members of the committee, Kaylee Enixon from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and we will stand on our written testimony in support. Mahalo for the opportunity.
Would you like to elaborate, taking a cue from Chair Tarnas, just a bit on the reasons you think this is a good idea?
Actually, I don't have anything prepared at the moment. So the reason that we are finding that it is warranted is that it's something that is needed in regards to all aspects of policy in terms of housing, in terms of health, education, that we feel that if there is a cultural component to all of these different legislations, that there needs to be a level of cultural appropriateness, especially when it deals with Hawaii and in terms of with Native Hawaiians.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin. Next up, we have Shana Wailana Kukila on Zoom. Please proceed.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, Chair. Mahalo. Aloha, committee members. This testimony is in support of HCR 32, HR 21, and I offer the following amendments. Number 1, if you could please add requires Office of Hawaiian Affairs to include actual members of the community on the task force to ensure public input is not relegated to a footnote in a report. Number 2, clarify the term culturally appropriate. In lines 19 through 25, please add legal advocacy to the list of disparities that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs can look at in terms of civil, legal, and human rights of Hawaiians. Number 4, strike development from the term economic development needs, because we know that development is often a loaded term, and it sounds more like a business model. Number 5, add the task force will analyze the use of HRS 57-5 to measure its effectiveness as a policy here in the Aloha State by government leaders and residents. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we also have written testimony from the Center for Hawaiian Sovereignty Studies and from an individual Center for Hawaiian Sovereignty Studies in opposition and an individual in support. Is there anyone else in the room wishing to testify? Please step forward and identify yourself.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young on behalf of CARES, in strong support. So the resolution is to request the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to address Native Hawaiian disparities. So the Hawaiians experience disparities and inequities, and it is critically important to address because it affects the critical aspects of life, including but not limited to health, housing, education, and economics. And with the apology resolution, a joint resolution acknowledged by the 100th anniversary of the January 17th, 1893 overthrow of the monarchy of the Kingdom of Hawaii, it was to offer an apology to the Native Hawaiians about the impact the overthrow had on the Hawaiian people. And it was on behalf of the United States, and the president signed the legislation apologizing for the impact of the United States role that it played in the 1893 suppression of the rights of the Hawaiian monarchy. And within the apology, it commends the efforts of reconciliation initiated by Hawaii and the United Church of Christ with Native Hawaiians, and it recognizes the supreme deprivation of
Please
the
summarize
rights
your
of
testimony.
Native Hawaiians, resulting in the diminishment of the Native Hawaiian culture. And I think to really to bring social justice to the issue at hand, the resolution can really create the equity in the
Thank you.
Hawaiian culture.
Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members, any questions? Chair Tarnas.
Thank you. Mr. Nixon? Before session started, I met with the representatives of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and they had identified this as a resolution that was being proposed and is developed by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. It was introduced by another member here on your behalf. And so I wanted to make sure that we heard this. I encouraged Vice Chair to agendize this on our hearing today. Could you give me a sense of, and remind us, what was the genesis behind this? Because if you read the resolution, it sounds like we keep talking about Native Hawaiian cultural appropriateness in various different policy discussions within the state. Housing, health, education, economic development. Why is it that you wanted the legislature to take action on the concurrent resolution instead of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs just going ahead and doing this anyway?
Again, Kaylee Nixon from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I can not necessarily speak on that. I would have to go back to our CEO and to my director, and I can get those answers for you.
That's all right. I mean, we're gonna if we're gonna take action, we'll take action today. But since this came from OHA, I wanted to understand why you wanted to move this forward and have the legislature take action on the concurrent resolution. And have you tried to do this on your own, for example?
I can only, I guess, talk about my experience being at OHA, because I haven't been at OHA for a substantial amount of time. So I'm not sure if there were any means of trying to get this done through our own avenues. But I can only, I guess, kind of speculate that we were hoping for the legislature to be able to pass this through, because then it would be a vehicle for something that might come up in the future, for any future legislation that we can try to move upon in future legislative sessions.
Okay, I guess maybe if this committee decides to move it forward and it does move to the Senate for consideration as a concurrent resolution, I would urge you to get clear on what the Office of Hawaiian Affairs' intentions are with this. I think it's a good idea. That's why I wanted to hear it. But I think it'd be really important for all of us, the legislature and the public, to understand what you're hoping to achieve in this effort. And you heard testimony about some suggestions on how you could go about and do it in a better way. So I would urge you to look at that testimony and come back with any suggestions for how you think you want to carry it out. Because this would be, if it's approved, I mean, you do it the way you want to do it, in a manner that's Pono, right?
Yes.
So I would urge you to go back and talk with your leadership so that you're prepared to talk to the Senate if they choose to hear the bill or the resolution.
Yes, we will do that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? If not, let's move on. Next up, we have HCR 196, HR 176, urging the Hawaiian Homes Commission to consult beneficiaries of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act regarding alternative wait list and award prioritization based on lineal and generational descendancy for Hawaiian homelands located in Hana, Maui. First up, we have Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Oriana Leal from DHHL. The department stands on its written testimony with comments. In sum, DHHL recognizes that beneficiaries who reside in rural areas, both on and off Hawaiian homelands, tend to thrive better on Hawaiian homelands in rural areas, and that is inclusive of areas beyond Hana, Maui. Also, the second reason being that it would help DHHL to mitigate risk as DHHL develops new projects and awards new lots in these rural areas. So I'm available for questions. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Princess Lehuanani Kumai Wakaina Kaleo Momona on Zoom. Please proceed.
Aloha. Thank you so much. It's the first time I'm in front of all of you. I just got this information yesterday within 24 hours. I agree to this resolution. I have been on the DHHL list since 1993, over 30 years. I am from Hana as a lineal heir, 10 generations. I've been trying to get on Hawaiian homelands in Lahaina and in Kahikinui. They pushed me back to the list. By agreeing to this resolution, you'll be helping me and my next 7th generation to get on the land that was promised and awarded to me in 1920. I am 62 years old. I was awarded 30 years ago when I was young and I could run the land on Gastaro. Now at 62, hard for me to chase cows. But I ask you guys now, I've been in DHHL space commissioners 4 terms now. Yeah, for the past 10 years. They've done nothing but put me in the back of the list. I'm here to ask you please and beg you folks that this will help me and others that have been waiting on the list over 30 to 60 years to help us and use our lineal decennial now, that we can get on our lands. Thank you so much for hearing me. This would help us. God bless to all of you. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See, we have testimony from the Wakiu Community Development Corporation in support. Center for Hawaiian Sovereignty Studies in opposition, and written comments in support from 9 individuals. Anyone else here or on Zoom wishing to testify on HCR 196, HR 176? Please proceed.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. In strong support, so the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act was enacted by the United States Congress in 1921 as a homestead program to place Native Hawaiians, defined as those of 50% or more Hawaiian blood, on lands in Hawaii designated for that purpose. And this resolution helps the waitlisters with prioritization of generational descendancy to DHHL. And the resolution creates additional pathways to help with the Hawaiians who are already at a disproportionate disadvantage with health and wealth inequities and disparities. In 2019, the CDC reported Native Hawaiians were 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with a sexually transmitted disease as compared to the white population. And in 2019, also, the Native Hawaiian women were reported to have 2.5 times more likely to die from a sexually transmitted disease as compared to white women. So, there's already all these disproportionate effects and inequities within the health and wealth of the Native Hawaiians. So there should be priority from the law to provide the equity from the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act to guide social justice and equity to balance the disproportionate effects of marginalized groups. The U.S. colonization of Hawaii led to increased barriers for Native Hawaiians to access equity, and the
Could you please summarize your testimony?
harms resulted in a higher burden of health disadvantages and social inequity. And yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members, any questions? Chair Tarnas.
Thank you. Hawaiian Homes? Thank you for being here, Oriana. In your testimony, you say that Department of Hawaiian Homelands intends to present and propose this matter before the Hawaiian Homes Commission to identify the best approach for alternative waitlist and award prioritization based on lineal and generational descendancy, and to determine which rural Hawaiian Homelands areas statewide would qualify, and that you would have to go through beneficiary consultation before proceeding with Chapter 91 rulemaking. Could you describe to us what your timeline is for doing something like this, regardless of whether we move out this resolution? I'm just curious. It sounds like you're going to do it anyway.
Correct. This month's commission meeting will be happening on the island of Molokai. If our staff have the capacity to complete the proposal, it would be presented before the commission this month. Then we would have to engage in beneficiary consultation across the Pai'aina because, like I mentioned, we hope for it to apply not just for Hana Maui, but other rural areas as well. And that can take up to a year if we do it right. And then finally, we have to go through the Chapter 91 rulemaking process. In total, generally speaking, I would say up to 2 years.
I appreciate and commend you for moving forward on this. It's certainly been something that my constituents have brought up numerous times, and I appreciate you being responsive. And as I say, regardless of whether the legislature moves out the concurrent resolution, I'm grateful that you're moving ahead with consideration of this through your formal process within the Hawaiian Homes Commission. Thank you very much.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Seeing none, let's move on to HCR 205, HR 185, urging the University of Hawaii to adopt and publicize a statewide equity statement. First up, we have University of Hawaii. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for hearing this resolution. The university stands in support of its testimony. Just briefly to give you a sense of why we want this resolution and think that it is a good idea across the nation, and I'm sure you are all following, or maybe you're not following as much as higher education leaders are, but so far across the United States, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education, 83 different anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion pieces of legislation have been passed in different states. 13 have final legislative approval and 12 have become law. So these are states that have actively rejected the idea that we should embrace diversity, equity, inclusion in our higher educational institutions. So we appreciate the legislature in Hawaii taking up the issue of equity in this case and supporting the interests of the university and providing for an equitable education for all of the citizens of Hawaii. And I think testimony for the first resolution helps to clarify why equity may be of relevance to us and our constituents. So I'm happy to answer questions, but thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we have written testimony from 10 individuals in opposition. Anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 205, HR 185, either in the room or on Zoom? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, let's move on. Oh, I'm sorry. Chair Tarnas,
I was
please
hoping
proceed.
other members would jump in, but I'll go ahead and ask the university a question. Again, regardless of whether we move this bill resolution out, sounds like you are motivated to move forward. What will be your plans on your own independent action to address this matter?
So as our testimony talks about, we have received funding from the National Association for System Heads, NASH, to do an equity audit for all aspects of the university system, including policy, et cetera. One of the top priorities that we've identified under that equity analysis was to develop a statement for the University of Hawaii. We really see this as legislative support for the work that we're doing in the context of that larger national scene where many states are actively being hostile to what their universities are doing.
So you're looking for a statement from the legislature to reaffirm their support for something that you're already doing?
Yes, and well, we haven't got it on the books yet, but yes, we're planning to roll out an equity statement.
And if you could tell us and the committee and the public who's watching, what's your timeline?
Hopefully, well, the semester is sort of drawing to a close. Hopefully, we can wrap the consultation up within the next few months, and then we would have this ready by the fall semester.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Seeing none, let's move on to HCR 74, HR 59, urging the Department of Law Enforcement to develop and implement a U visa certification policy. First up, we have State Department of Law Enforcement.
Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Jared Radula. I'm the Deputy Director for Law Enforcement. And our department's going to stand on its written testimony in support of the resolution. And we think that this is an equal justice for all type situation, and we're happy to engage in the conversation and to move this along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we have the Legal Clinic, Bettina Mock. Oh, hi. Oh, what perfect timing.
Yes, I was outside. Thank you for the time to speak. Just wanting to stand on our written testimony. This is an important resolution that allows the counties and prosecutor 2 years, up to 2 years, to consider a tool that would be really important, both for law enforcement and for immigrant rights. And it's something that we, the Legal Clinic, are happy to consult on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Valor Law, Omar Vaquerano. Sorry if I mispronounced the name that badly, but okay. In support. Hawaii Workers Center. In support. Hawaii Friends of Civil Rights. I see Amy Agbayani on Zoom. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair Tom. Friends for Civil Rights strongly supports this. It really will assist our law enforcement groups as well as the immigrant community come up with a procedure that will be beneficial to both, to make sure that the process is fair and we can support both the the law community as well as the immigrant community. So we stand in strong support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the Hawaii Coalition for Immigrant Rights, Maria Raloje.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Maria Ralihai. I'm the Policy and Communications Coordinator for the Hawaii Coalition for Immigrant Rights. We are a statewide coalition of immigrant and migrant-led and serving organizations, some of whom are legal providers working to promote the full inclusion and equal justice of immigrants and migrants in Hawaii. And we are in full support of these two resolutions. Immigrants and migrants are particularly vulnerable to becoming victims of crimes due to various reasons. And according to recent estimates, there are about 50,000 undocumented immigrants in the state, comprising many of our agriculture and service industry workers. Undocumented immigrants already face daunting challenges, and adding the fear of their status can make seeking help or even reporting crime even more intimidating for them. So our coalition of 30 organizations urge you to pass these resolutions to encourage undocumented victims of crime or witnesses to crime to step forward without the fear of deportation. So thank you for allowing me to testify.
Thank you very much. Let's see, Hawaii Alliance for Progressive Action in support. Narabel Chardon on Zoom. Please proceed.
Aloha, my name is Maribel Chardon, and I am an immigration attorney serving Hawaii residents, especially those who are in need and who don't have the financial means to pay a private attorney. And this resolution would be great because it is about education. It is about providing law enforcement with the tools and the necessary information that they need just to accomplish what the U visa purpose is all about, to elicit cooperation from people who are not in legal status, and by the same token, just free them, those with no documents, to free them from fear of reporting and cooperating with the authorities. So we are in strong support, and thank you so much for this time.
Thank you very much. Let's see. We have testimony from 6 individuals in support. Did I miss anyone who wishes to testify, either in person or on Zoom? Yes, please step forward.
Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of Kapalama Neighborhood Security Watch, in strong support. So we are a grassroots initiative of the Honolulu Police Department, and we train with the community to enhance safety emergency response procedures. So in support of the Department of Homeland Security and this resolution, it guides the federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement officers in policy relating to immigration. So from the U Visa Law Enforcement Certification Resource Guide report, it says, the U visa certification simply states that the person was a victim of a qualifying crime, possessed information relating to the crime, and was helpful in the investigation or prosecution of that crime. And the certification does not guarantee the future conduct of the victim or grant a U visa. So if this resolution moves forward, and if there can be policies enacted to strengthen the ability of law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute cases of domestic violence and assault and other crimes while offering protection from such crimes, it really collaborates the Congress while encouraging law enforcement officials to enhance safety protection measures to protect against crimes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to testify? If not, members, any questions? Chair Trapp?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Radula? I understand that this U visa is particularly targeted to immigrant victims of qualifying crimes, or who were victims of crimes like human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault, and other types of abuse. But a certification is required from a law enforcement agency to certify that this individual, that a qualifying criminal activity occurred and that the victim was helpful or will be helpful in the investigation or prosecution of the qualifying crime. So that's really the benefit to you as the Department of Law Enforcement, is that you would protect an individual who would otherwise not have status to stay, as a way for them to have legal status during the time they're working with you. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yes.
And so in order for you to come up with your policies so that you can review and certify potential applicants, are you able to do that with current resources?
Yes, Representative, we think so. So, number one, we thank the committee for hearing this. Prior to this, we hadn't even heard of this. And so we did some research. There will be an education process within our own agency, and to be able to understand and learn what the guardrails are, what this whole thing is all about, and then to be able to work with the Department of Homeland Security to fashion a policy that fits our community's needs. But we think we can accomplish this.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I just learned about it too through this resolution, so we're in this together. So I'm grateful that you're in support, and that, as I said in the earlier resolutions, regardless of whether the legislature approves this, I think it's going to be beneficial to you to pursue this anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. May I ask Bettina? Yes, Bettina. Thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate your work with the legal clinic. Is a U visa something that you have been able to utilize so far, or is it just that people aren't aware of it?
Yes, the attorneys, especially on Maui, work closely with the district attorney to provide these certifications. They don't, one important distinction is they don't, we still need to go through the Department of Homeland Security to secure the visas, and that can be a long, long process. This is just for the police to certify that, yes, this person was a victim of crime and may be eligible. So they are employing that. In Honolulu, less so than on neighbor islands, but it is a really important tool.
I appreciate that the law enforcement certification is only one step that's early in the process. Department of Homeland Security has to go through their whole vetting process on their own, which can take time.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And you have experience on Maui with actually implementing this?
The attorneys in our network do. I don't personally, but yes.
Right. But your attorneys in your network do?
Yes.
Great. Well, I think this seems like a very good idea, so I appreciate your work in this area, and we'll see if we can move this forward.
Thank you
very
so much.
I'm sorry, before you step down,
Yes.
you said you have attorneys on Maui who've implemented this
Correct.
law. How can you do so without a state policy in place?
It doesn't require a state policy. Each county can actually create their own procedures and protocols, and that's why the caucus, the Filipino Legislative Caucus, advanced this as a 2-year resolution to allow time for each county and police chief to weigh in and figure out what's the best use of this, rather than a forced state mandate in the beginning. And I think that's a really good approach because it can be a delicate tool to implement, and training is really key. So over time, hopefully there'll be funding for training the officers as well.
So was there some kind of ordinance or resolution passed by the Maui County?
Not that I'm aware of. In other states there are some, or it's on the county level. But as far as I know, there isn't any kind of policy on the books here.
Thank you. Interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions. Let's move on to HCR 194, HR 174, requesting the Department of the Attorney General to conduct a study to determine if xylazine testing strips should be excluded from the state's definition of drug paraphernalia. Attorney General's Office.
Good afternoon, Deputy Attorney General Michelle Pu, appearing for the department. We do oppose these resolutions as written only insofar as we would request an amendment that the Department of Law Enforcement be tasked with administering the study. It's my understanding that they're okay with that amendment.
We'll find out.
I've been informed in that regard. Essentially, we're just not equipped to administer such a study, but we would be obviously willing to support them in that endeavor. I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you very much. State Department of Health.
Aloha, Chair Tornes, Vice Chair Takayama, John Valera of the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division, testifying in support of this measure of these test strips could be used to possibly prevent further overdose deaths, and whether it's the AG or the Department of Law Enforcement that does this study, we support that too. So, standing on my written comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Department of Law Enforcement.
Good afternoon. The department is in support of the premise of the resolution to have this study on the xylazine test strips. We are asking for a friendly amendment that we be the responsible department to conduct the study and not the Attorney General. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, that's all the persons we have signed up to testify. Anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 194, HR 174? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, let's move on to the final resolution on the agenda. HCR 217, HR 197, requesting the Department of Law Enforcement to establish a task force on ethical policing to evaluate the efficacy and impact of weed and seed programs in the state. Let's see, first up, Department of Law Enforcement.
Good afternoon again. I'm Jared Redula, the Deputy Director. Our department submitted comments concerned about the study called for here in this resolution. And our concern is not so much on, the discourse or the conversation about effectiveness over weed and seed, but more the construction of and how we would go about doing the research project. Number one, what the resolution is calling for is this study that's going to broadly involve collecting all kinds of data, the data listed in the 7 points here in the resolution, and collecting that data and then conducting a study and doing a lot of sociological research. Our department doesn't have the expertise, so we don't object necessarily to putting together the task force, but we don't have a lot of expertise in that area. I have some personal experience doing sociological research with the university, and it was quite expensive and involved a full-time team of researchers to have to do this. And so we're really concerned over that what this resolution is calling for kind of is way bigger than the working group that's involved in the resolution. Also, we are concerned that because of the complexity of the research involved, there's not enough time to provide you with a meaningful report before the next legislative session. So that is basically our comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Honolulu Prosecuting Attorney Steve Am. Welcome back to the Capitol.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Steve Aum. I'm the prosecutor. We are opposed to this for many of the same reasons that were brought up. But weed and seed and safe and sound, same strategy, different name, is extremely effective. The strategy is simple. You talk to residents, you ask them what the biggest crime concerns are and social service gaps. You then get law enforcement organized to address those. And then they also say what the social service gaps are. So we try to address all of those, but it's a strategy of collaboration. And so the number of arrests or citations is going to depend on the populations involved. There's no targeting. So Safe and Sound Waikiki, which has a big, vibrant population, has more than twice as many arrests and citations as the 3 other weed and seed sites combined: Eva Beach, Waipahu, and Chinatown, Kalihi, Palama. And so there were 3,626 citations or arrests in the last year and 9 months in Waikiki. And those other programs have been operating 2.5 years. The first time around, the collaboration of partners resulted in a 70% reduction of crime in Chinatown and Kalihi, Palama. I don't think the renaissance of hipster bars and restaurants ever would have happened if Chinatown had been as dangerous. The first year, there were 10,000 arrests there. The fourth year, there were 3,000 arrests, 70% reduction. But the seed part, or the sound part, came out with after-school tutoring and sports programs at Kai'ulani Elementary, a Head Start program, a community center and playground. So my concerns are the same. It would take a tremendous amount of time and effort to pull this data out. And right now, all the law enforcement agencies do not talk to each other. That's why we got a Smart Prosecution grant in 2021 to try to start having that conversation. HPD arrests somebody, input all the information. Case comes to us, our staff members start from scratch to pull that out. And HPD asks about, self-reporting. What are your racial categories? If you look at the mainland, which is what they have to follow, it's Asian and Pacific Islanders. That is useless for us here. And if it's ever, and so I'm just afraid if we have to spend time and energy on this, it'll keep us from going to new neighborhoods who are crying out for a safe and sound thing. And lastly, if it's ever attempted, since it's just an Oahu-only, HCR, HPD should be part of it, but I don't think the Neighbor Island prosecutors need to be part of it, and the Neighbor Island public defenders don't need to be part of it. Because right now, the only programs I'm aware of for weed and seed and safe and sound are on Oahu. So thank you for the chance.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. See, Honolulu Police Department on Zoom.
Good afternoon, Chair, committee members. My name is Paul Komodo, and I'm the major with the Honolulu Police Department. I'm in charge of District 1, which spans from Chinatown to the beginning of Waikiki. I've submitted written testimony regarding this resolution, and I'm available for questions that you might have. You know, the Weed and Seed program really has been a benefit to our Chinatown community, and the partnership that we have with the Honolulu Prosecutor's Office has really made a difference there in improving the feeling of safety in Chinatown and the downtown areas. And I think if you look back to how that area was 20 to 25 years ago, and how much of an improvement there has been, it really is a result of programs like Weed and Seed that remove the criminal element and creates partnerships with the neighborhood and creates a safe environment for businesses to do businesses and families to raise their children. So I hope that if this task force is created, the Honolulu Police Department be included as one of its members. Thanks for your time and opportunity.
Thank you, Major. Let's see. From Weed and Seed Hawaii, Hercules Hui Hui.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, committee. Yeah, when I was looking at this thing, I guess you guys read my statement, yeah? I don't like read them, because it's all about the kind. But this is reality. You're looking at a product of Weed and Seed. When I went into Pupu'ole 30 years ago, Pooptown Tugs was running the community. Yeah? We didn't put one guy away. Closed the crack house. They was making meth right across the street from my house. I had a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, single father. You think I was in peace? Kept calling, kept reporting. All I get to say, oh, Uncle, yeah, we surveillance. 3 years took them for surveil. This resolution, I don't know who will write them, but Para, you no clue on what's happening with Weed and Seed. You gotta live on. I'm a living, breathing, testimony that bugger work. It should be in every community. Every community should have the collaboration going on, Weed and Seed, law enforcement, and businesses, and community members like myself. I've been in that community 30 years. It's the safest it's ever been. Waipahu, Pupu'ole. I'm in the pupus, right there, where the thing been begin. Took me 3.5 years just to close the gambling house that was right across the street from my house. Same thing. Oh, Uncle, we got surveillance. 3.5 years later, they closed on the house. Now this new property guy trying to sell on property in our neighborhood for $1.4 million. I told him he's crazy. He's not going to sell them, and it's been sitting like that for 3 years already. Yeah, empty. The community works with the officers. Yeah, the community tell them what we like, and they give them. That's why all the officers from Kalihi to Ewa Beach know me. Yeah. And for the 30 years or 24 years that I've been on board, since the inception in 2000, yeah, I volunteer every single event that they get.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hui Hui.
Yeah. So take into consideration, look at it, brothers. The teamwork, because I'm living proof.
Thank you very much. From Safe and Sound Hawaii, Katie Ka'ahunui, in offering comments. Rochelle Lee Gregson. No. Let's see. Julie Reyes Oda on Zoom. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. My name is Julie Reyes-Oda, a teacher at Nanakuli High and Intermediate, a resident of Ewa Beach, and I strongly oppose HCR 217. When I hear Weed and Seed, I think of promoting safe communities. I've spent the past few months walking the streets that tucks well over 1,000 homes behind James Campbell High School, known as Leeward Estates and Ewa Estates. And I've been told by residents, unsolicited, that the neighborhood has gotten better. When I ask what they meant, they say that they used to be gambling houses. They point me to which houses, and then drug dealing, they point me to those houses too and locations on the streets. Local residents are reporting that their communities are safer. This must be the goal of the legislature. I know that it's a goal for the Eva Neighborhood Board. I know it's the goal for the police department. I worry that while this resolution seeks to establish a task force to determine the efficacy of the program, it will end the program. In discussing the Weed and Seed, I want to concentrate on the seeding part of the program. Weed and Seed is now a local nonprofit. We have community police officers with Weed and Seed special duties. These police officers live in Eva Beach. They send their kids to school in the area. They come to community events and the neighborhood board. The Weed and Seed program, along with the special duty officers, offer the kids in the area events like youth bowling, junior golf, youth patrol, and the summer culinary program at James Campbell High School. The Weed and Seed Steering Committee has members that even include an Eva Beach school principal, neighborhood board member, and a police officer, and they're all residents of Eva Beach too. The Weed and Seed program that George H.W. Bush created is no longer, and it has been morphed into a Hawaii-based community organization now. Please support Weed and Seed Hawaii. Thanks for allowing me to speak on this important measure.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we have testimony from State Senators Carol Fukunaga and Carl Rhodes offering comments. Ilima Intermediate School Principal in opposition. Shopo in opposition. Department of Health Nursing Branch in opposition. Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition offering comments. Hawaii Visitor Industry and Security Association offering comments in support of Safe and Sound. Gentry Homes in opposition. Anyone I missed, please step forward. We'll start with these two gentlemen and then by you, ma'am.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, my name is Trevor Aberzu. I'm the President and Executive Director of the Waikiki Business Improvement District. I'm also filling in for Katie Kahanui, who is on our staff and also the Executive Coordinator of Safe and Sound Waikiki. But we've heard a lot about the crime reduction and the coordination between HPD, the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and the community. But I just wanted to make comments on what we're doing from the homelessness piece and the mental health piece in Waikiki in bringing these community stakeholders together. It's not just, IHS out there, it's not just the government, but, the business community now is helping fund outreach workers and helping fund street medicine doctors to go out and help people that are suffering in the community. But I think the collaboration that we're seeing now with retailers and businesses, with hotels, with the HPD and with the prosecuting attorney and with the community board members in the neighborhood board, just that collaboration within Waikiki that wasn't happening 2 years ago. We're seeing tremendous results, and we talked about the crime stats already, but I do want to mention that we've, in the last year, have helped over 190 individuals that are homeless or severely mentally ill within Waikiki. We've successfully housed 30 individuals because of this Safe and Sound initiative and through the work of IHS and through Safe and Sound. And also from a street medicine perspective. So these are the most severely mentally ill individuals, the ones that really can't take care of themselves or at risk to themselves and others. We've been able to give medicine right on the street to 12 people who now are out of psychosis, they're out of that severe mental illness and able to get into housing. So there's a lot of success stories out there. And again, it's not just the police, it's not just the prosecutors that are putting bad guys away. There's really a lot of great work being done in the community on getting people off the street, getting them healthy, and then making the community shine brighter. So we, at the Waikiki Business Improvement District, we are supportive of this measure. We're a part of it, and the business community is at the table with the prosecutors, with the police. And again, I just wanted to shine the light on all the great work that's being done within Waikiki. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Next, sir.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it for transparency reason. My name is Ernest Carvalho, and I am Chair of Neighborhood Board 13, Downtown Chinatown. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board. I am going to speak on behalf of myself. I'm an activist in Downtown Chinatown, and Weed and Seed has made such a tremendous difference in our community. We have seen people leave the streets and gone. Those that I've known that were on the streets doing meth and other hard drugs on these streets are no longer there. They're not coming back. We are working towards uniting and collaborating with everyone. The goal is approaching. It is getting there. We're getting cleaner. Our streets are getting cleaner. People are coming back to our communities. Hotels are coming up. New businesses are coming into town. And the reason for that is because of weed and seed. It works. I am strongly opposed to this resolution. This resolution, if it wants to check anything out, check out the communities. The communities throughout the world that has weed and seed. That's what you should be looking at. That's where you gauge from. The communities are getting better. If you stop weed and seed and put a halt to this, then we revert backwards. Then we become a revolving door. As an activist, I will not allow that to happen in Chinatown. I will fight for Chinatown because we have made great strides. For downtown, because we have made great strides. Forever. And for all the communities in Nanakuli, out in Waimanalo, out in Waianae, I will fight for all that. This is something that we strongly need, and the program does work. We are a living, breathing entity. Us Kanakas work hard for this. And look at us Kanakas. We've come a long way. And we're going to continue to come a long way to fight for what is right, to grab our children and take them off of those streets, and to make sure that they are educated and stay off of the junk. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Miss, please.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. My name is Gail Braceros, and I'm the Executive Director of Weed and Seed Hawaii. And I'm here today to provide a verbal testimony to oppose this resolution. Since it's in section within our state, our organization has been deeply involved in implementing the Weed and Seed Initiative across various communities, which is Kalihi, Palama, Chinatown, parts of Ala Moana, Sheridan Street, Waipahu, and Ever Beach. You know, over the years, we have been working tirelessly along federal, state, and city agencies, and well as community members to address the unique needs of each community and combat various challenges. You know, our effort has been recognized nationally in the honor as one of the 8 best practice back in 2007 because of our exceptional collaborations and community involvement. Despite the discontinuation of weed and seed by the Department of Justice in 2011, we have remained steadfast in our commitment to our communities. We have adapted and continued our work as a nonprofit organization as Weed and Seed Hawaii, approved by the Department of Justice for allowing us to continue using its brand name, focusing on both the weeding and the seeding components of our strategy. While removing negative elements from our communities is essential, it is equally important to replace them with positive programs, such as youth mentoring programs and resources and education for our kapunas. Given our history and the effectiveness of our current program, we firmly oppose this resolution. We believe that this resolution not only not fully recognizes the comprehensive approach required to address the challenging that we face in our communities. Instead, it oversimplifies the issue and fails to acknowledge the importance of our seeding efforts. I urge you to reconsider and not support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify on this resolution? Please step forward and identify yourself, please.
Well, I'll pass out some pamphlets for you guys. This is the, what if you guys don't know anybody here that lives in the Weed and Seed area?
Yeah, give that to our clerk.
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
Who lives in the Weed and Seed area? We got 1. Okay, thank you. 2. Great. You guys know what the effectiveness is with for the Weed and Seed. My name is Mitchell Tainanes. I am a almost 50-year resident of Ever Beach. Been on the Ever Neighborhood Board for the last 16 years. I've been the chair for the neighborhood board for the last 8+ years. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I've been on the Weed and Seed Steering Committee for the last 13 years. When I saw this, fire. Sorry about that, it just hurts. What I think this body should be finding is ways and a form of funding to spread weed and seed, to help weed and seed. What Gail hasn't told you guys, since we became our own our nonprofit, it's a struggle to keep this program going. It is a struggle finding funding. After Hercules and everybody. Whew. Sorry, guys. Just sad. Okay, but I have seen and experienced firsthand what a positive impact and that we didn't see it in a seeding activity. Everybody talk about the weeding, weed out the bad. Gail kind of brushed up on, the kapunas, the kikis, and all that. The seeding part about it, but there's a lot of what our community, our businesses, our residents, they all get together and they help. They take ownership of our community, taking ownership back in our communities of what happens in our community. They say that we go to the office and tell what our problem is. Same on the neighborhood boards, they come to us. And we're an advisory board. They come to us with their problems. We try to get them the right answers. So we didn't see it as like a direct line to law enforcement where we can effectively help the community. But going on the seeding activities on the Ever Beach side for our community in the last 24 plus years, 24 years, guys, we didn't see it been in existence. Graffiti paint out and cleanups, which instill our youth of our community a sense of ownership and pride. Our summer culinary classes, which teaches our teenagers life skills. How many of you guys kids can cook rice? Come on, raise your guys' hand. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, we got 2. Mine cannot yet. Okay, we got golf, bowling, youth fishing program, youth patrol. Kind of like the community citizen patrol, but for the youth. Annual Kapuna Health and Wellness Fairs. Community school presentation on bullying, cyberbullying, internet safety, juvenile laws, and drug and alcohol awareness. There's some drugs out there that I didn't know about until I started talking to the Weed and Seed and our school teachers, principals. 10 more seconds.
Yeah.
I never knew about that kind of stuff that happened in our communities without the officers going there and talking to our kikis from young to high school. And also for traffic awareness and sign waving. I mean, I just hope and pray that where our legislators, as you as the legislators come here together, you should come together and try to fund and grow this type of programs, not shoot them down with this kind of stuff.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Last call, anyone else wishing to testify? Please step forward.
Angela Melody Young on behalf of Neighborhood Security Watch. Wishing to comment with a proposal. So Weed and Seed is like staff going to community events to work with revitalizing the community by playing basketball at Palama Settlement with the kids after school. So the goals of these safety groups like Weed and Seed and Neighborhood Security Watch is to focus on encouraging social life, reducing fear, and stopping people's withdrawals from community life. And the community participates in training and gets educated about emergency team response procedures, how to respond in a crisis, and get trained with law enforcement strategies and safety prevention techniques. So Weed and Seed, Neighborhood Security Watch, and Honolulu Police Department and the community collaborate on strategies about effective crime prevention methods while activating walks to help combat community concerns about public safety. And whereas public safety is a pressing concern, crime is an escalating problem which has affected our neighborhoods and schools, crime and chronically homelessness are interconnected, issues affecting the community, and Honolulu Police Department is short-staffed and currently has 300 vacant positions. Training volunteer first responders to lead Weed and Seed and Neighborhood Security Watch and Citizens Patrols are more feasible and practical ways to activate safety strategies rather than just focusing efforts on hiring officers. So the Neighborhood Security Watch and Weed and Seed are proactive policing strategies developed in the late 20th century, and research shows that the police needed new strategies to prevent crime because crime prevention goals were not being achieved through traditional law enforcement efforts. And Weed and Seed is nationally recognized, such as the Neighborhood Security Watch. And the local efforts of the Weed and Seed, I read online that it was activated by the former United States prosecuting attorney. And the purpose is to weed out undesirable activity through law enforcement and to plant seeds of revitalization by fostering community programs. So, I think the focus of the resolution should really urge federal, state, and county collaboration to integrate and coordinate the work of the government partners and the community organizations to provide for resources and accessibility to community training, allocate additional resources to support the safety meetings and presentations, to reduce the significant burden upon police officers and critical state and city emergency response teams.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions? Representative Ganadin?
Okay. To the Office of the Prosecutor, Honolulu County.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
Mr. Ram.
Good afternoon.
You know, when I authored this, well, this hearing and the testimony was sort of an education to me. I didn't realize that although this program was created in 1997, the Department of Justice pulled out in 2011. Is that correct?
Yeah, they, and so Flo Nakakuni, who's at my office, was the U.S. Attorney, and she asked the Justice Department for approval to use the trademarks and the names, but federal funding has been gone for years. The City Council has been keeping it afloat.
Are they a 501c3, like
Yes.
recognized here in the state of Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay.
Weed and Seed Hawaii, Inc.
Are they funded through any bit of state or county funding?
I don't, every once in a while, get grant and aid.
Okay. Is that annual?
And the City Council, Ron Menor, you know, other folks there have funded it over the years.
I understand. And I congratulate you and members of the community for your continued collaboration in speaking about crime to communities. I think this is something that if you go to these neighborhood board meetings, they ask for all the time.
Thank you. Roy Yamaguchi is the guy who's working with them on the culinary arts program. So it's amazing what Gail does. And Gail and Lori Kano, your former...
Thank you. As you know, Mr. Prosecutor, we're sort of, I guess, at the legislature and with the governor is also trying to look at best practices for data regarding the justice system. Has Weed and Seed ever been assessed? Especially with regards to prosecutorial discretion, requesting sentences, changes in pretrial requests by the prosecutor. Has that ever been discussed?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. What are the, I'm going to ask him, ma'am. Thank you. What are the directives that you give your deputies regarding individuals who are charged with crimes in Weed and Seed areas?
Well, they're brought into court. If they can't make bail, they're part of custody like any other custody. There might be a few from Weed and Seed and 20 others in court. They treat them like anybody else. One of the advantages, though, is that they ask for probation in many of the Weed and Seed cases, and then you have a chance. These are all misdemeanors and petty misdemeanors, virtually all. Then they get a chance for drug treatment and mental health treatment. That typically doesn't happen for any other case. They get credit for time served, and they walk out the door.
Is there any differentiation in your request regarding pretrial incarceration?
No, we don't have to ask it any different. The bail may be higher in some of the cases.
All right.
And it's a lot of, it's coordination with HPD. It's working together on, you know, just making sure they arrest cases, we look at them, we charge them if we can, and we proceed.
As you noted in your testimony, and as we've heard earlier from the Criminal Justice Oversight Commission and the data center at the Supreme Court, your numbers don't talk to each other. When do you think, I suppose, the arrest and court records will be more easily accessible for members of the legislature?
We are in the middle of a process with the Attorney General's office, Cheryl Inoue and Paul Mao from our office. They're trying to get, and Dr. Okamoto from UH, they're trying to get the systems talking to each other. Senator Wakai is heavily involved in this. It's going to take years. It's going to take a multi-million-dollar effort. But the amount of time that is wasted now with double inputs, not double, 4 or 5 inputs throughout the criminal justice system. So we're working as soon as we can on it because we'd like to get all this data too.
Is that through the data center at the Supreme Court, or is that you folks in charge of it?
It's a group. It's a collaboration for it. The AGs are a part of it. The prosecutors are a part of it. The folks up at UH, Dr. Okamoto is the one who designed the system for the health programs to talk to each other. So he is extremely excited about working with us on getting this done.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Okay.
Any other questions, members? Seeing none, let's move on to decision-making. See, first up, we have HCR. By the way, thank you all testifiers, both in person and on Zoom, for your testimony. Appreciate your taking the time. HCR 32 and HR 21, requesting Office of Hawaiian Affairs to identify the scope of Native Hawaiian cultural appropriateness for the purpose of addressing Native Hawaiian disparities. Our recommendation is to pass this out as is. Members, any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. Voting on HCR 32 and HR 21 in tandem. Recommendation is to pass these two measures out as is. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Evslin? Aye. Representative Ganadin? Aye. Representative Holt excused. Representative Ichiyama? Aye. Representative Iligan excused. Representative Kong?
Aye.
Representative Miyake? Aye. And Representative Souza excused. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. HCR 196, HR 176, urging Hawaiian Homes Commission to consult beneficiaries of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act regarding alternative waitlist and award prioritization based on lineal and generational descendancy for Hawaiian homelands in Hana, Maui. Chair's recommendation is to move this out as is. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, Chair.
Thank you. Voting on HCR 196 and HR 176, recommendation is to move this out as is. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Evslin? Aye. Representative Ganadin? Aye. Representative Holt? Aye. Representative Ichiyama? Aye. Representative Iligan is excused. Representative Kong?
Aye.
Representative Miyake?
Aye.
And Representative Souza is excused. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. HCR 205, HR 185, urging the UH to adopt and publicize a statewide equity statement. Recommendation is to move this out as is. Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. Voting on HCR 205 and HR 185, recommendation is to move out as is. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. With the excused absence of Representative Iligan and Representative Souza, any other members voting with reservations or nays? Seeing none, all ayes, the recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. HCR 74, HR 59, urging the Department of Law Enforcement to develop and implement a U-Visa certification policy. I'd like to move this forward with technical amendments for clarity, consistency, and style. Members, any questions, comments, concerns? If not, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. Voting on HCR 74 and HR 59, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. With the excused absence of Representative Iligan and Representative Souza, any other members voting with reservations or nay? Seeing none, all in support, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. HCR 194, HR 174, requesting Department of the Attorney General to conduct a study to determine if xylazine testing strips should be excluded from drug paraphernalia. I'd like to move this forward with the House draft, replacing the Department of the Attorney General with the Department of Law Enforcement, both in the title and in the content of the bill, of the resolution. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. Voting on HCR 194 and HR 174, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. With the excused absence of Representative Iligan and Representative Souza, any other members voting aye with reservations or nay? All in support, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. On the final resolution, HCR 217, HR 197, requesting Department of Law Enforcement to establish a task force on ethical policing to evaluate the impact of weed and seed programs. I'd like to thank all the testimony regarding the weed and seed programs. I'm going to defer this resolution. With that, we're adjourned.